Aiden, thanks so much for being here today. I appreciate your time and sharing your story over at MSU. So, just start by telling everyone about your organization and the region that you serve.
So, yes, we are at the E-Center at Mississippi State University, based out of Northeast Mississippi, and we're serving the surrounding Starkville community and the broader region and the cities and towns nearby. My role at the organization is our program manager. I work under the director to work directly with the startups themselves inside of our Startup Accelerator Venture Catalyst. So my day to day normally looks like meetings with all the startups we have, whether that be just general consultations on things or fixing their pitch decks, getting them better, helping them iterate if they need to pivot even this early. It's always working with the startups themselves.
Awesome. That's fun. You're like all hands in. I don't get to work with the startups, but I do get to tell their story from start to
Mhm.
finish. And it's very inspiring. And so I know they all appreciate what you do and the help that you give. But tell us about Startup Summit. It's our largest partner pitch event. And I know it's a little bit different. So tell us about what makes it unique.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, this will be my first startup summit. So I've been here in Starkville for 5 or 6 years, just as a student in my undergraduate and graduate programs. And then I ended up coming back to work here. Every single year that I was at Mississippi State University, I always heard about Startup Summit. And I didn't get into the College of Business until my third year here. So that should tell you a lot about how big of an event that it actually is. Or what we do every year is we host a startup summit, and it's changed a little bit over the course of the years, but it's basically a competition in front of judges to where if you're a startup company, you can pitch for grant money, for prize money, and there's some other prizes that aren't necessarily funding, but could be consultation of some kind. It changes. But for this year, we're doing two tracks. We have one competition called Bulldog Business and one competition called Mississippi Made. The Bulldog Business Competition is tailored for any college student in the United States, regardless of where they are, what college they're at. So it could be any college, just as long as they're at college. The other competition, Mississippi Made, is for any resident in Mississippi that has a startup company that is less than 10 employees and has been in business for less than 5 years. So it's a chance to really grow our brand at the same time as give the Mississippi companies that we have here a place to shine.
That's all happening in Starkville, Mississippi. It's so great. I have been to the Startup Summit, and it is electric. Even if you are just a college student, I say, if you hear about it, go take it in. It really is inspiring what happens there. So tell me, are there any particular types of founders or specifics, or do you take on anything and everything?
It's really my prerogative to think like the startup accelerators out there that are more established than say we are in terms of way of thinking like how you guys thinking at Innovate, thinking of how Y Combinator thinks, thinking of how A16Z thinks in terms of what is the world needing right now and how is the world advancing at the same time. So if we have students who come in here and they do with all different sorts of backgrounds and they have an idea, how can we tailor that into doing something that they want to do, but that also serves the broader Mississippi community that mixes in national trends to serve both here and beyond? It's a really impressive thing. We have all of these founders that are great with technical stuff, with engineering, with agricultural backgrounds, with industrial backgrounds. So, really technical founders who have the ideas of how to help Mississippi grow by solving the problems here. So, some of them may come in, past just a problem stage. Some of them may come in with an actual prototype of something. Most of the time, we're dealing with founders that come in with just an idea. So they may have already thought about it a lot further and are capable of moving quicker. But it's my job to sit there and say, okay, if they have this idea or this prototype and they're already thinking about it one way, how can I bring in the prerogatives of Y Combinator, A16Z, and Innovate Mississippi to help them pivot their idea into something that works that consumers are going to like, to get their feedback on it and to also serve the broader community and beyond with how the world's trending over the next 5 to 10 years.
Amazing. Can you tell me what the progression typically looks like when a founder shows up in your office or in your inbox from your initial intake to how to funnel them to where they need to go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So whenever they come in here, and I try to tell everybody, just like everyone else that works in here, like, please come and see us. Whether it's, if you just need to stop in, check in, you want to say, hey, just come and see us. But typically, the way our framework works, we have 4 specific stages in our framework. The first one is our start stage. So that's typically when someone comes in with an idea. Our complete goal with them is just to get them to be able to clearly state what that idea is. Normally, it's kind of jumbled up with a lot of thoughts and different spinning webs of thoughts as well upon the idea, but it's to get them to be able to say it clearly and concisely by doing a pitch deck on it that addresses problem, solution, consumer segment, target consumer, the very basic foundation stuff. They may not have feedback yet, most likely. So the goal is to help them set up to go and get that feedback, right? And to be able to reflect it clearly to others to get the proper feedback they need. Beyond that, when they move into stage 2 and can do that, it is our objective to be able to get them to understand that their idea needs to be able to shape more like a company. So this is when we start paying attention to unit financials, going and get customer feedback, figuring out if you need to pivot even this early into something else. Once they've got a good idea of what those unit financials are, and they've got an idea of what the company might be later on, then they'll pitch again with a stronger pitch deck and then move into stage 3. And then stage 3 is when they look at the long-term efforts of the business in terms of a 3 to 5 year timeline. That's paired with the small business development community, also helping them out with further financial projections. And from there on, once they've applied to a good amount of startup accelerators beyond just us, and then pitch competitions as well, and they've gotten themselves out there, then we're comfortable with letting them move into stage 4 because they have a little bit of brand awareness out there in this space, and they're making all the right moves in terms of turning it into a real company. And then in stage 4, we try to help get them in front of an angel investor, whether that's through the Bulldog Angel Network or through one on their own. And then just to keep applying, going to accelerators, trying to do whatever they can to get into programs like co-builders like you guys have. And our framework really at the end of the day is not so far different from how you guys have set up yours. So it's our goal to get them to think about it correctly and to be able to operate like a company that knows what they're doing going into something like co-builders.
I think this web of accelerators across the state really does have a big impact when you really start talking to everyone and hearing exactly what they are doing. And you really are walking them from start to finish and along the way through all the pivots. It's great to hear. I know that you haven't been there that long, but do you have a success story that you can share, or even just like a moment that was really impactful for you and how you work with founders?
I've had the pleasure of meeting almost all of them, and then we're getting 6 to 10 new a month, and that's just steadily rising. So I'm getting to meet them every day, and it gets me out of bed in the morning to be able to wake up and to be able to help these students just to really get their ideas to grow. But there's a few companies this year, a few startups that have really, really impressed me, especially in the AI vertical space. They're building some really, really cool programs. I don't want to get too into it just because I know when Startup Summit comes around, they're going to do a really wonderful job. But there's some companies that are building tools to solve problems of employment, to solve problems of inequity, to solve problems of unemployment, inequity. There's even like education gaps. So I'm very, very excited to see how that can serve the broader state. One of my favorite moments from when I got here, me and my director, Nick Pashos, he informed me to like, hey, there is this competition, this graduate research symposium. We're giving away an innovation prize for it, right? Who can we find in here that just has that founder it factor that really can take what they're doing in their research and possibly turn it into a business idea? That's an avenue that the E-Center is trying to look into to find innovation everywhere. And someone's out there doing research that is building a bunch of technology and a bunch of innovative solutions using AI for harvesting sweet potato farming. And which is really impressive. And it's, fits the broader perspective of the way the world's shifting in terms of AI and serves Mississippi. So that might be the biggest moment for me in terms of just blew me away.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't think about AI when you think about sweet potatoes and growing.
Right.
And so, my next question, I feel like you've pretty much already answered it. What makes a connected statewide network essential for places like Mississippi here.
Mhm.
And I mean, just with already speaking about working with people that are working here, right? Working with this land and this agriculture and people in the community. Tell me a little bit. You're from Mississippi, I think you said.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just tell me a little bit about the statewide connectedness, excuse me, and how you feel like is it essential?
Absolutely, it is. And one of the things that I love most about Innovate Mississippi is that they are a program that is focused on making Mississippi, getting Mississippi back to the stage or to the stage of where all these other companies are in terms of startups and development. And just knowing what I know about Mississippi, in a lot of areas we're pretty far behind. And you guys and the interconnected programs such as us and everywhere else around the state is really focused on trying to change that narrative. The only way to really do that at the end of the day is to have the programs that we have in terms of getting them off the ground from idea and concept to actual product, solution, service, and continuing to guide them and grow them and build them on the way up. So it doesn't work any other way.
All right, well, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you. Tell us about applying possibly for the Startup Summit and just any links that you want to drop.
If you want to get in contact with me, stop by the E-Center in the College of Business in McCool Hall or send me an email, amcclain@ecenter.msstate.edu. I'm always actively trying to meet everybody I can, grow my network, and also grow the brand of the E-Center itself. I like to try to get to everything that I can. I'm always going to try to track someone down to meet with them. So I always want to follow up. That's how you reach me. In terms of Startup Summit, that's going to be on April 10th, and we have some really fantastic companies that are going to be there this year. You can go see all the Startup Summit rules online on our website at the E-Center, and that's how you can find out more about that.
Okay, do you feel like there's anything else that you want to say or share about, your work there or just in general?
I think overall, just being here the 3 months that I've been here, I've learned a lot from the student staff here. When I first got on and was trying to learn everything, some SOPs were in place, which was fantastic, but the student workers have been the difference makers in terms of getting me up to speed in so many of the areas that I needed to have knowledge in. The incredible students that we have at Mississippi State have tons of ingenuity. They're very innovative. They think creatively, and I'm very excited to see the Mississippi State pipeline into programs like E-Center and into co-builders and even into their own careers in the future. We have some really bright students here, so I want to give them kind of a shout out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Innovate is very thankful to have Mississippi State as a partner, and I'm looking forward to the Startup Summit. I'll see you there.